Welcome to the detailed technical analysis of Paychex, PAYX, stock based on the provided data up to June 20, 2025. This analysis will cover the general overview in trend, price and volume dynamics, moving averages including SMA and EMA, technical indicators grouped by category, linear regression, opening price prediction for the next trading day, support and resistance levels with intraday movement patterns, probable high and low values based on the ATR 14, possible scenarios, and a conclusion, with additional insights where relevant. All data is sourced exclusively from the provided CSV file, and decimal separators will use commas as requested. Let's start with the general overview and trend. Paychex's stock price from March 24, 2025 to June 20, 2025 has experienced notable fluctuations. The stock opened at $143.63 on March 24th and closed at $149.12 on June 20th, reflecting a moderate overall gain of approximately 3.8%. However, the period saw a peak at $159.78 on June 6th, followed by a decline. The stock hit a low of $137.01 on April 8th, indicating a significant correction of about 13.7% from its early high of $153.12 on March 26th. The recent trend shows a bearish phase after the June peak, with the stock closing lower in the last few sessions, suggesting weakening momentum. Moving to price and volume analysis, price movements have been accompanied by varying volume levels. The highest volume day was April 9th, with 5,285,576 shares traded, coinciding with a rally to a close of $146.15, indicating strong buying interest after a dip. Conversely, June 5th had the lowest volume at 958,810 shares, during a consolidation phase. The volume-weighted average price, VWAP, on June 20th was $149.33, close to the closing price of $149.12, suggesting trading occurred around equilibrium levels. The on-balance volume, OBV, declined to -6,912,263 by June 20th, reflecting selling pressure in recent sessions, particularly after the June high. Now, let's examine the moving averages, both simple moving averages, SMA, and exponential moving averages, EMA. The data includes SMA and EMA for periods of 5, 10, 20, 21, 25, 30, 50, 63, 75, 100, 125, 150, and 200 days. On June 20th, the 5-day SMA was 151.77, and the 5-day EMA was 151.43, both above the closing price of 149.12, indicating short-term bearish momentum. The 10-day SMA and EMA were 153.85 and 153.10, respectively, further above the close, reinforcing the downward pressure. The 20-day SMA at 155.82 and EMA at 154.08 are significantly higher, suggesting the stock is below its medium-term trend. Longer-term averages, such as the 50-day SMA at 151.57 and EMA at 151.66, are closer to the current price, acting as potential support. The 200-day EMA at 155.65 is above the current price, indicating a longer-term bullish context but current underperformance. Next, let's group and analyze the technical indicators. Starting with momentum indicators, the Relative Strength Index, RSI, 14-day on June 20th was 34.41, indicating oversold conditions, suggesting potential for a reversal or bounce. The stochastic oscillator, stock K15, was 11.88, and stock D15 was 16.36, also in oversold territory, supporting a possible short-term recovery. The Williams percent R14 was -95.89, confirming oversold conditions. The momentum 10-day was -10.19, reflecting significant negative price change over the past 10 days, consistent with the recent decline. For volatility indicators, the average true range ATR 14-day was 249, indicating moderate daily price swings, which we'll use for high-low predictions. The Bollinger Bands show the upper band at 161.73, the middle band, 20-day SMA, at 155.82 and the lower band at 149.91. The closing price of 149.12 is just below the lower band, suggesting the stock is at the lower limit of its volatility range, potentially indicating a reversal or consolidation. Trend indicators include the Moving Average Convergence Divergence (MACD), with the MACD line at -0 of 50, the signal line at 0.68, and the histogram at -118, indicating bearish momentum as the MACD line is below the signal line. The average directional index (ADX) 14-day was 1752, suggesting a weak trend, supporting the current consolidation or reversal potential. The Arun oscillator was -6429, with Arun down at 100.00 and Arun up at 64.00, indicating dominant downward momentum but with signs of weakening bearish pressure. Volume-based indicators show the Chaikin oscillator at -1,947,400, reflecting negative money flow due to selling pressure, consistent with the declining OBV. The Money Flow Index, MFI, 14-day was 36.97, approaching oversold levels, indicating reduced buying interest but potential for a rebound. For the linear regression analysis, we use the Trend Strength Factor, TSF, 14-day, which was 149.58 on June 20. This value represents the projected price based on a linear regression of the past 14 days' closing prices. The current price of 149.12 is slightly below the TSF, suggesting alignment with the short-term linear trend but limited upside potential without a catalyst. The correlation coefficient, COREL20, was 100, indicating a strong positive correlation between price and time over 20 days, though this may reflect earlier upward movement rather than the current decline. For the opening price prediction for the next trading day, June 23, 2025, we consider the recent closing price of 149.12, the 5-day EMA of 151.43, and the VWAP of 149.33. Given the oversold RSI and stochastic, a bounce is possible, but the bearish MACD and weak ADX suggest limited momentum. The average of the last 5 days' opening prices, around 152.65, and the current close suggest an opening price around 149.50 to 150.50, with a bias toward the higher end due to oversold conditions. Now, let's analyze support and resistance levels and intraday movement patterns. Key support levels are derived from recent lows and technical indicators. The lower Bollinger Band at 149.91 is an immediate support, followed by the psychological level at 148.60, June 20th low. The 50-day SMA at 151.57 is a minor resistance turned support. Resistance levels include the 5-day SMA at 151.77, followed by the 10-day SMA at 153.85 and the TSF at 149.58. The current price of 149.12 is near the lower Bollinger Band, suggesting potential to test 151.77 with a bounce or fall to 148.60 if selling persists. Intraday movement is likely to range between 148.60 and 151.77, with a possible bounce toward 150.32, June 18th close, if oversold indicators trigger buying. The low RSI and stochastic suggest a cautious intraday move, with potential for a short-term rally. Using the ATR 14 value of 249, we can estimate probable high and low values for June 23. Starting from the predicted opening price of 150.00, midpoint of 149.50, 150.50, the probable high is 150.00 plus 249 equals 152.49, and the probable low is 150.00 249 equals 147.51. These levels align with the support at 148.60 and resistance at 151.77, suggesting a realistic trading range for the next session. Now, let's explore possible scenarios. In a bullish scenario, if buying volume increases due to oversold conditions, the stock could rally toward the 5-day SMA at 151.77 or the 10-day SMA at 153.85, supported by the low RSI and stochastic. In a bearish scenario, Continued selling pressure could push the stock toward the ATR-based low of 147.51 or the April low around 137.01, particularly if broader market conditions weaken, as hinted by the negative MACD. A neutral scenario, likely given the weak ADX, suggests consolidation between 148.60 and 151.77, with moderate volume. An additional insight is the parabolic SR, PSR, which was 157.14 on June 20, significantly above the current price of 149.12, indicating a bearish trend. The ultimate oscillator at 41.05 suggests neutral momentum, supporting potential for a bounce if buying emerges. An interesting fact is the stock's resilience after the April dip to 137.01, with a recovery to 159.78 by June 6, driven by high-volume buying, reflecting underlying investor confidence despite recent weakness. In conclusion, Paychex's stock is in a short-term bearish phase as of June 20, 2025, trading below its 5-day and 10-day moving averages and near the lower Bollinger Band. The oversold RSI, stochastic, and MFI suggest potential for a bounce, but the bearish MACD and weak ADX indicate limited trend strength. The predicted opening price for June 23 is around 149.50 to 150.50, with a probable trading range of 147.51 to 152.49 based on ATR. Investors should monitor volume and oversold indicators for signs of a rally toward 151.77 or a further decline to 148.60. The stock's recovery from its April low highlights its resilience, but caution is warranted due to recent selling pressure. Stay tuned for updates, and always consider broader market conditions before making trading decisions.